Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and welcome back to the Becoming Her podcast. September is almost here. Summer months are basically over, and the Burr months, my favorite, are officially on their way. I'm really excited. I love the fall, but I'm also kind of like, how did this happen? I feel like 2025 just started, and I'm already planning or thinking about planning for September. So I wanted to drop this episode a few days before I usually do my monthly reset routine, so you can have a insider scoop on how I plan each month, how I set my goals, and just basically how I get myself together before a fresh new month starts. At the end of each month, I like to take some time to reflect. This is keeping in mind that I had already made goals for the previous month, so for August, and I like to think about what worked, what didn't, what do I want more of next month, where did I maybe fall behind, what did I excel in, all of those good things. So every single month, I like to set myself goals, and I treat every single month like a new year almost. So the first of a month is like a new year, but a month obviously. And I treat the next 30 days as a new time to lock into my goals, a new time to work towards becoming her, to work towards creating my dream life. Now, before we even get started into how I do that and breaking that down, I want to start off by saying that this can be daunting, especially if you think about doing it every single month. Now, for me, this has become something I genuinely need, and it just helps me so much to get my thoughts together, get my goals together, get my mindset ready for the next month, but make it an event. So what I like to do is set the vibe. So either if I'm doing it at home, I will light a candle, make my favorite drink, put on an ambiance video, or you can go to your favorite cafe and buy your favorite drink, but make it a time and event for yourself. And it should feel like this is dedicated you time, specifically for personal growth and planning how to become her, or how to create that life that you've always been wanting to create. And it doesn't need to take the entire day. It only realistically takes about an hour to just sit down and really plan out and really think what you want from yourself in the coming month. So sometimes I will give the month a theme. I don't always do this, but I find if I had a rougher month, the one prior, like I kind of did for August, alhamdulillah, it wasn't a rough month in the sense of mental health, but it was just really busy. And I'm an introvert, so I really reset by being alone, and I didn't have a lot of that. So with moving and the commitments and spending lots of time with friends and family, alhamdulillah, I have been feeling a little bit burnt out when it comes to my own personal time and my own mental health. So the theme for me for September is a slow September. So this is going to help me set the tone and break my goals down into even easier things so that they can apply to what I want the general vibe of the month to be. And you can do this, but you also don't have to. This is kind of a supplementary thing I do sometimes if I just feel like it. So getting into how I actually break down my monthly goals, I take my yearly goals that I have made, my 2025 goals, and I break them into smaller monthly ones. And I have a few main categories that I typically stick with every single month. So one will be Islamic. So my Islamic goals, this could be things like praying Sunnah more often, reading Quran every day, trying to learn Arabic, because that's something I'm trying to work on. Sometimes, honestly, my Islamic goals can even just be, making sure I'm praying on my prayers on time. Make it based off of how you are currently feeling and how you are currently doing. Don't make them too ambitious versus where you are right now. You want them to kind of apply to where you are right now and then improving a little bit more so that they don't seem so overwhelming. So that's my Islamic section. I then do a health and fitness section. So this is all about my workouts, my diet, trying to incorporate more whole foods into my diet, or trying to eat more fruits and veggies, and, trying to get to the gym a certain amount of times a week, or try a new workout class, things like that. Then I like to have a financial one, which is low-key very new for me. I am not a financial guru. I love to shop, love to spend. Like I was an overconsumer, but I am trying to work on that. So I have had the financial category in my goals as of late. And then I like to have one about personal development. So this can be anything. I put my reading goal there. I put going on a solo date there, things like that. You can honestly kind of rearrange these however you feel like. Some other ideas that you could add are career goals or mental health, relationships, whatever makes sense for you. And I'd say sticking to about 4 or 5 categories max is it. Like if you only have 2 or 3, that's fine as well. But I wouldn't go over 5 categories just so it's not overwhelming. After I come up with my categories, like, okay, what are the areas of my life that I want to work on? I then try to come up with at least 2 goals per category so that it stays realistic, but still pushes me forward towards working for my goals. I'll come up with 2 SMART goals is what they're called. And I'm sure you've heard of SMART goals before, but if you haven't, I believe it stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. So specific would be reading. You could easily just put a goal of yours is to read read more. And then in your head, you're like, okay, I put read more, my goal is done, whatever. But that's not really trackable. It's not really, it's kind of doesn't really have, it's very open-ended. You don't really know what reading more means. It could be reading 1 page that month and you read 0 last. That's technically reading more, but is that really your goal? So you want to put something down like read 10 pages a day, read X amount of books this month, read at least 1 page every day. Like it could be anything that makes sense for you. It could be read 10 pages a week. Whatever the goal is, make it so that it makes sense to you. So that's specific. Measurable, you want to have an ability to track the progress. If you choose pages as your option, you can clearly track how many pages you've been reading every day. Achievable, again, you want it to be realistic. You don't want it to be overwhelming. You don't want your goals to scare you away from even trying them. And you don't want to feel like if you're falling behind, there's no way to catch up. So keep them realistic. Align them with your bigger goals. So those goals that we make at the beginning of the year are New Year's resolutions. If you did the ideal version of yourself mind map that I told you to do in the first episode, you could use your goals from there, even from your Pinterest board. That's a great way to kind of get the vibe of, okay, what are my goals? And then obviously you want to give it a deadline. So typically they're for the month. So by the end of the month, you want to complete the goal. This just makes it easier to stay consistent and have an idea of, okay, this is what success looks like to me. And this is how I'm going to achieve my goals, inshallah. Now, a little tidbit for my Pinterest girlies. This is completely not necessary, but this is something that I personally love to do. And I think it just adds like a fun aspect to my monthly reset and my monthly goals. I like to make a monthly vision board for my phone background. So I will literally just open up Canva. It's free. Anybody can use Canva. And I will just scroll through Pinterest and paste photos that set the tone for the month. For me, for September, I'm probably going to have a lot of pictures of a girl reading, cozy coffee shop vibes, maybe like apple picking, reading in bed, baking cookies, slow September feels. It doesn't have to directly connect to your goals necessarily, but you want your Pinterest background or your Pinterest vision board for the month to create an energy of how you want to step into this new month. You want your phone background to be something that inspires you because you're going to be looking at it every single day. Now, this is a new thing that I started to my monthly goal / reset routine, and this is habit tracking. It sounds very overwhelming, but honestly, this has been helping me a lot with staying consistent and staying on top of my goals. So what I do in my journal, I love journaling, and I can probably do a whole episode about journaling, but you don't have to do it in a journal. You can also do this online. You can do this on Excel. You can do whatever makes you comfortable, whatever you're used to using. But I like to have a daily tracker of the habits that I'm trying to achieve every single day. So for me, a really important one is getting 8 hours of sleep. I find that my sleep health and my sleep hygiene directly impacts how I feel and how motivated I am to do a lot of my other goals. So that one's really important for me. Hitting my 10,000 steps a day. I love to walk, so that one's usually not too difficult, but I do like to track it and see, okay, how active have I been over the course of the month? Days I read. So I try to read both the Clear Quran and some kind of leisure reading daily if I can. And then this one's new, and it is no spend days. As I mentioned earlier, trying to be a financial girly is new to me. So I started tracking the days that I don't spend any money. And I found that this really helps me because when I have to open up my journal and highlight a day that I didn't spend, it's such a good feeling. And so I do second guess any unnecessary spending because I don't want to mark it down in my journal. So it has to be worth it for me to spend, for me to track it in my journal. I use my journal, but again, like I said, I'm sure there's a bunch of different digital tracking apps or websites that you can use to track your daily habits in a really easy way. But I find personally, this is a great way to kind of reflect on the month prior. Okay, like how did I do on my habits, and which habits do I want to continue working on and carrying into the next month, and which ones do I think that I have a good handle on now? I kind of mentioned this to give some more insight. I treat the first of the month like a mini January 1st. Of course, like I mentioned, I like to create my habits for the month, but I also like to treat it like a reset day. And I always think to myself, how I spend the first of the month is setting the tone for how the rest of the month is going to be for me. If my tone for the month, for example, September is supposed to be a slow September, I want September 1st to be a slow, fulfilling day. Inshallah, I'm going to try and go to a cafe, read a lot, journal a lot, maybe go do like a slow workout, really mentally lock in and spend some time with myself because that is the tone that I want for the month. So whatever your tone is and whatever goals you want to have throughout the month, try your best to make the first of the month a day filled with you achieving all your habits, achieving all your goals, and starting the month with that tone of like, okay, I'm ready to tackle on all these goals and ambitions that I have for myself. Having day one being successful really helps keep that momentum going. Of course, if you can't do this, sometimes the first lands on a really random day and it's just not possible. Maybe the second can be, but I feel like one of the first 2 days of the month, really putting a bunch bunch of effort into achieving all your goals and achieving all your habits helps set the tone for the rest of the month. Then alongside with that, resetting my space. I typically do a monthly reset. So of course I have my mindset shifts and my goals that I write down and track, but I also like to reset my environment. So that could be cleaning up my space, deep cleaning if I haven't in a while, clearing out the fridge, wiping it down, restocking with healthy groceries. I like to donate clothes that I don't wear pretty frequently because I don't want them to be taking up space in my closet. I obviously do a full everything shower, use your favorite lotion, use your favorite perfume, wash your hair, feel like a new girl. And it does sound like a lot, but I find that when I do these resets monthly, it's less overwhelming than randomly having those nights where you're like laying in bed and you're like, I hate my life. This is like, I'm so overwhelmed. I have so many clothes I want to get rid of. I have so many goals that I feel like I'm not working on. Like, oh, it's already September and I haven't even looked at my New Year's quote unquote resolutions that I made. So checking in on yourself monthly is almost like having just a meeting with yourself and with your goals and with your self-improvement. This is the key to having self-growth and to being able to push yourself past those boundaries of simply having the thought of what you want to work on and taking those thoughts and making them actions and making them goals and make them actionable daily things that you do. So start small, and you don't even have to do all of these things, even if you do one, especially if you're kind of used to just making your annual goals and then you forget about them and it's like a yearly routine that you do. You make your goals in January, you're really excited, you're really motivated. February rolls around and you haven't even opened them up, you haven't even thought about them. So if that's typically how you are, totally okay. We've all been there. I'd say take one thing out of this episode that really resonates with you, and one thing out of this episode that you feel is doable and something that maybe you're excited about and passionate about, and just start with that. And I promise you, it should help guide you towards the way of routinely working on your goals and not feeling like such a big task, but rather something that is benefiting you. I think the final biggest tip I want to give is whatever your goals might be, whatever you take away from this episode, track your goals in one way or another, because progress feels so much more real when you can actually see it. When you see that you're reading more, when you see that you're going to the gym more, when you see you're going to the masjid more, and you're tracking that down and you have it written out, because it's so easy to forget on a day-to-day basis, like what did I do yesterday even? So when you see that and you have proof of it and you have it tracked, it makes it more obvious how well you are doing towards your goals versus just assuming and guessing and hoping that you're doing what you were hoping to do. I just wanted to end this episode with a small dua. Ya Allah, make this new month a source of barakah, growth, and ease. Help us all build good habits, leave what doesn't serve us, and draw closer to you in everything that we do. Ameen. I really hope you can pull something from this episode about your own goals. I can always do another one going a little bit more in detail about mine. I personally haven't planned out my September goals yet. I'm most likely going to do them this weekend coming up. I typically honestly do them like the day before the new month. I almost kind of reserve that day, and that's my day where I make my goals. That's the day where I do my planning. So I'm so grateful for every single one of you that joined and listened into today's episode. Inshallah, September will be filled with everything that you were hoping to get out of it, and I hope we can all plan our Septembers and reach our goals, whatever they might be, together, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum, and I will speak to you guys next Wednesday, inshallah.